Right. For you to be where you are today, it's because of somebody else. Now, success always leaves clues, and we learn our best lessons from the people around us. Today, I'm going to tell you about me and the people that I've learned from. For me, growing up, I've had to, put myself in places where I'm surrounded by people who are far better than me, far greater than me, and people who have really impacted my life to being the person that I am. I want to give a big shout out, first and foremost, to the one and only, the person who knew me before I was created, Elohim, God Himself. As it says in the Bible, before I formed you, I knew you. And God knew the specific purpose He had for me. And I'm living in my purpose, and I love it. I want to give a big shout out to my dad and my mom, Nicodemus and Teresa Monengwa. Amazing parents who sacrificed so much for me to being where I am today. I want to give a big shout out to my siblings, Rudo, Ignatius, Linda, and none other than the most important person to thank, which is none other than myself. I want to thank me for believing in myself when nobody else did. I want to thank me for always being focused, being hard headed, being that crackhead, going against the curb when everybody thought I wouldn't make it. So I want to give a big shout out to me. But other than those people, they are people who made me be the person I am. I want to give a big shout out. Growing up, there's Mr. and Mrs. Chabikwa. Those are people who took care of me when my parents couldn't, take me to school and stuff. They really came through for me. I want to thank my dad's brother, Raymond Monengwa. They sacrificed so much for me to finish my school because I used to stay with them because my parents weren't able to. I want to also give a big shout out in high school to Mr. and Mrs. Marimo. The Marimo family did so much. I believe there's a story about Moses in the palace, and Moses got exposed to the palace life, but he wasn't born in the palace. And for me, that changed and transformed my life. I grew up in a high density suburb called Cleonora, but what the Marimos did for me, they took me like their own, they treated me like their own child, they exposed me to so much that I felt like I was part of the family. So I lived in the palace. They were well up, and you know what? I got exposed to see different things. I got to see how Constance Marimo, an amazing serial entrepreneur who's been in business as long as I've been alive, and some of my entrepreneurial skills I learned from her. I worked for her in a shop called Wallace Boutique, and she taught me so much. She sacrificed so much for me. I want to thank also Danford Giro. I worked in the candy shop at Zimex Mall whilst I had my stint at Zimex selling cell phones. It's amazing the journey I've walked and the various people who have impacted my life. So big shout out to Danford Giro for believing in me. He is one person who his business acumen has helped me become the person that I am today. So big shout out to Danford Giro. I also want to thank my pastor from Highfield, Pastor Chris Mutusi, an amazing man. I remember before I had a car, I was his armor bearer back in the day, and he's somebody who always used to say, "Wow, George, you need to buy your own car and you need to be chauffeuring me around." And all those encouragements, his word was deep, his revelation was at another level. And he's a mighty man of God, full of faith. So big shout out to Pastor Chris Mutusi for all that he has done for me. I also want to thank none other than the founder of Celebration Ministries International, Pastor Tom Dushel. An amazing man of God. When I look back at my youthful days, I would have never been the person I am without the teaching, and especially the cross culture and the youth that I grew up under. I am only the person I am today because of the grooming that I got outside school. I really want to give a big shout out to Pastor Tom Dushel. I want to give a big shout out to my Moses into entrepreneurship, none other, aka PVK official, Pastor Victor Kambasha. Um, there was a time in my life when I was working in employment and I met this mighty man of God. I was introduced to him by Jeff and Claudia Campbell. Big shout out to you too. And they introduced me to him, and Pastor Victor changed my life. When I talk about a man of faith, I'm talking about Pastor Victor. He is somebody who there's nothing that's impossible. He always used to say, no matter where I go, if I go to the desert, as long as God's blessing is upon me, I will flourish. And he's the one who asked me to resign from my former employment and to begin entrepreneurship because he says God has bigger plans for you. And I was obedient to him. There was so much that was going on in my life. I had twins at that time, and you know what? I, I left because I had to do what I had to do. And 7 years on, it's been amazing in 2019, having received that word early 2012. And we thank God for where I am today. So big shout out to Pastor Victor Kambasha. I also want to thank my mentors like Dr. Edgar Chandiwana, Mark Kamanya, John Maseko, Dr. Eve Kadzikwa, Dr. Philip Chiangwa, an amazing man. I want to thank you, sir, because you gave me my very first award. You don't know how when I grew up, I always used to look up to Dr. Philip Chiangwa. You always used to inspire me with your business acumen, and there's nobody who I know who's been at the top of their field and making strides and not stopping like Dr. Philip Chiangwa in Zimbabwe. There's nobody. There's nobody who is such an extrovert, such a unique serial business person like Dr. Philip Chiangwa. And the amazing thing, when you get closer to him, he is such a down-to-earth, real, genuine person who really wants to see the success of other people. And I've seen that. I've benefited from his network. He's referred and recommended so many people to me. He supported me, and I appreciate that so much. I also want to thank Farhan Leah, Leah Brothers, Mr. and Mr. Senior Leah, and Farhan Leah. These guys have really I remember I bought my first car from them. They've really supported me. They've been there. They've encouraged me, given me words of encouragement and inspiration. I also want to thank Pastor Ivan Mawarire. Oh my gosh, I can never forget you. I remember cross culture days. Where did you want to see? I remember when I got 2006, and they told us to come dressed in what we'd want to be in 10 years' time. And there I was. I made an amazing pitch. I was dressed in a peach suit, and I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I got transport. I got this. I got that. I never said air conditioning though, but it's amazing how his teaching, his message on believing in yourself really did so much and impacted my life. I want to thank a special friend, Benson Jagada, the CEO of Chase Contractors. I remember the story I tell about when I started business, about the friend that I borrowed money from to put fuel. Remember, it was $10, and my car was on E. And with Ben, we started business together. We went to Celebration Highfield Church together, and he's an amazing man who has really been with me through this entrepreneurship journey. We've been together. He supported me, and you know what? It's amazing how there's some friends who stick closer than a brother. So big shout out to Ben. I want to thank Mr. Banda. Huh. Yeah, you can't talk about me without Mr. Banda. An amazing man, an amazing accountant who's really been there, more of an advisor, a mentor. You need somebody who is financial to surround you, and Mr. Banda's just been that. He's been with me ever since we started, and it's been an amazing journey on that path. I want to thank my pastor, my apostle Dr. Melody Sibanda. It's amazing how you think you know how to pray until you meet a prayer warrior. And Apostle Melody Sibanda is none other than that. She's really inspired me to pray, to have a personal relationship with God outside her. Other people think that, prayer is you speaking to the pastor and, the pastor praying for you. But prayer is a relationship and communication between you and God. And she's taught me that. I've learned how to, spend more time in prayer, waking up in the middle of the night, really praying and pushing hard. And because of that, it's led me to having a steadier relationship with God. And it's led me to fight a lot of things in me which don't want me to get where I want to go. So it's amazing how prayer is a very important and paramount tool to your success. The Jehovah Jireh chosen generation international family, all the pastors, all the members. You guys are amazing, and I thank God for you and for every single thing that you've done. I want to also give a big shout out to somebody who's believed in me, who's taken me to platforms where I could speak. The KBN family in South Africa, um, Pastor Neville Kambasha. Thank you so much for your love, for what you've done, you and your wife, and the foundation that you started in South Africa has really ministered to me. And I love to give back. I love to speak, and I love to share the testimony how God has worked in my life for me to being where I am. Without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I want to salute and give a big shout out to Pastor Neville Kambasha. Some call him Pastor, but he's a serial, amazing business person. If you look him up in South Africa, he's doing amazing exploits, and his heart and passion is to raise up entrepreneurs in South Africa, something that I have a heart for too. But the way he's done it and the way he's done his business module, it's amazing. And I salute you. You've inspired me. You've really done so much in terms of opening my eyes and seeing and introducing me to the KBN family. I want to give a special shout out to Dr. Mudombi. I remember in 2005 when I was diagnosed with hepatitis B. An amazing man who, at that time, I didn't believe in Jesus Christ, and I nearly lost my life to hepatitis. He encouraged me to go to church. I'll never forget you, Dr. Mudombi, for the words and the encouragement you gave me at Parenyatwa Hospital. I remember I was down and out. I'd gotten wrong medication, and I was told, you know, my kidney was gonna be, I was at the kidney of. I mean, they showed the doctor my X-ray, and they saw a big hole. They said this guy must be 80 plus years. He's got 3 months to live. I heard that, and I was devastated. But he encouraged me to go and go to church and pray and just you never know what God will do. And I went, I prayed, and it's amazing how miraculously a week after that the doctors could not see nothing. So an amazing big shout out to Dr. Mudombi for believing in me and all that you've ever done regarding my life. I'll never forget you at that time. Another big shout out. Now this is a special family to me, Mr. and Mrs. Chihuri of 2226 Glenora A. These are an amazing family. They took care of me. I remember when I lost my mom, and things weren't going too well. Sometimes I used to go to their house, spend time, and we used to have starch. I love that couple. I haven't seen many couples who eat in one plate, but they do. In Zimbabwe, we have a traditional meal called sadza, and it's amazing to. When we grew up, that used to happen, but it's amazing as a couple. They eat in one plate, and that's taught me. I saw love. I saw a family that's united, and Mr. Chihuri and Mrs. Chihuri really took care of me. They were so supportive of me. It would be so wrong for me not to mention them upon all else that I've mentioned all these people, and I salute you and I thank you. There's so many people I could leave out. There's so many people I may not mention. There's so many friends that have helped me to be where I am. Close friends who've referred amazing business. I could go on and on, but it would not be complete without me thanking one of the most important people in my life, who has been with me nearly half my life, who has really been that pillar of strength, who's always supported my vision and my dream, and made sure that I push sometime when I relax, and that's none other than Ruvimbo, who is mostly known by all of you as Lisa, my wife, who has given me the most amazing G's, 4 amazing G's: George, Gabriel, Gugu, and Gianna. I love you, and I thank you for every single thing that you've done for me. You've been such a supporting pillar, and I thank God for you. God could have made you for somebody else, but God knew you were specifically created for me. So I want to thank you for your support, your love, your constant dedication towards, building up a happy and a loving family. One thing about my wife, she knows what she wants, and I remember in 2012 when I started at the Revelation in front of everybody, I was saying that if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be a staunch tither. I wouldn't be pushing so hard because she has very high demands. She loves the good life. I mean, she grew up in Chegutu, and I brought her to Harare. I'm just joking. I know she's gonna roll her eyes on that, but she came to Harare, and she likes the good life. So she always makes sure that I have to push and work hard to accomplish all those things that I tell her. The problem with my wife is if you tell her something, she's going to make sure you have to accomplish it. And I definitely need a partner in crime who pushes me to the limit. And I really want to thank you, Lisa, for every single thing that you've done. There's so many people I could thank, but those are people who've really impacted my life. Of course, not forgetting my best friend, Tino Tenda Marimo. I spoke about him earlier on. He's been there, he's stood with me. And Remo, big shout out to you. I'll never forget you or leave you out. I mean, they used to call us the NHS No Hope Squad in Set 5, and they thought we'll never make it. But look at us now. People thought academics was everything, and they used to laugh at us playing soccer. But it's amazing how, we came up, and as much as people didn't think highly of us then, it's amazing what a positive mind has. Big shout out to everybody. Like I said, if I left somebody out, don't be offended, don't be touched. But those are people who made me always be appreciative of people who helped you cross the bridge. Without people, you wouldn't be where you are today. Make time to appreciate. Make time to thank people. Make time to just pick up the phone and call them and tell them how grateful you are. Because without them, you would have never known, you would have never crossed, you would have never accomplished, you would have never learned, you would have never gotten what God deposited in them that they were supposed to give to you, for you to be the person that you were meant to be. Big shout out to you, and especially you. Be grateful. Thank the people that helped you cross. It's your boy, George Billionaire. God bless you, and especially you. And I'm out.